Hey guys, I'm Tristan of ScratchThat magazine. This is ScratchThat, where we interview artists on their process. Today we have the band Blue Savannah Underworld, and with me sitting here is
Lama.
I'm Bruno.
And I'm Elliot.
So yeah, I was listening to your music yesterday, and it seems like, from what I hear, you have a very vast amount of influences.
Oh yeah.
Like, you guys play everything from probably like jam rock to almost like straight up heavy metal. I was wondering how you manage as a group to sort of just organize this and like condense that sound.
It's not organized. It's not condensed. That is the result.
It's chaos.
Yeah, that is the result of the five of us coming together. Whatever it was out on Spotify so far, it's a result of us coming together and trying to develop our chemistry together. It takes a while for us to be able to communicate that with each other in a way that's coherent, in a way that's flowing. And by every release that we do, we feel like we're getting a bit more coherent, a bit more on the same page. And now we have an album that's going to be in the works that we already have more than halfway planned.
Well, how do you guys approach songwriting?
I feel like we all approach it pretty differently. I mean, we've got 5 songwriters in a band, which is like a massive benefit to us. Not something that most bands have the luxury of. Me personally, I like to have an idea of the song before I start writing lyrics, so I'll go, because I'm primarily a guitarist, so I'll play a couple of chords on a guitar and then write a riff in my head, sing it over a voice memo on an iPhone, and then I'll start writing lyrics eventually.
And then you'd bring it to the band.
And then I bring it to the band and we BSU it,
and often that means that we'll take what he's written and we'll listen to it. We'll kind of add our own twist to it.
We'll just jam.
Maybe I'll say, I think I can do this in this part, or we can do that in that part, and it builds on that idea.
Do you think it's important maybe just to continually write, so you just have this infinite source of material?
I think so. But burning yourself out is a real definite thing, you know, like if you just like sit down every morning and trying to write a song and you get mad at yourself because you can't, or it doesn't sound as good as the song you wrote yesterday. It's like, don't be afraid to give yourself a rest.
Well, I think that's what's so good about having, like you said, 5 songwriters, is that whoever's filling the band out, like, you know, someone else is going to have a song and then they're going to bring it in and you can maybe work on their song instead of your own, and then give you a bit of a fresh perspective. Yeah, there's no doubt Elliot's the most prolific songwriter. Out of everyone, he has recorded the most ideas.
It just goes.
Which is pretty impressive. He shows us, and like, how do you, like, it's just like a full band recording.
But that's because we have the studio at the house, and like I sleep in the studio. I think it's also about just like playing your instrument, not for the sake of writing a song, but for practicing and for the love of playing and what you do. And then with that, sometimes you'll just be sitting down and you'll come up with a riff or something, and it's amazing when that, like, when you're not trying to write a song, but you come up with, you know, a riff.
You're not trying to force it out. It just happens naturally.
And for me, at least, those are usually the best.
Yeah, to add on to that, it's like we started, like, as you know, it's like doing jams, you know, and those jams are completely unplanned, and that is built off feeding off each other's energy.
Yeah.
And I think even when we started doing pre-written songs and not improvs anymore, we wanted to keep some of that energy, you know, keep some of that energy that we're feeding each other, because I think if you lose that, you're losing something that makes the band special. And keeping that energy, keeping a little bit of unpredictability, a little bit of just, you know, like,
a bit of risk even.
Yeah. It adds to the live show. It makes us playing the song feel a bit more engaged with it.
Like, kind of coming out of that conversation, do you think, and this kind of comes into you guys not being afraid of chaos, that all good art comes from like taking a risk?
If you want to play music or do anything and put it out in the world, you know, there's always...
That's a risk in itself.
You know, you risk being ridiculed, you know. Somebody can just turn off and go, I don't like this is shit. You know?
Another perspective to that question, I feel like a lot of people try to sound like what everyone else is doing at a certain time in order to minimize that risk. Like, people are scared of not being played, so then they're
Taking less risks.
not being as creative as they possibly could be.
And it's not always like selling out, but you're also, as a band or an artist, you have to always be willing to like adapt and evolve.
I think you should be able to adapt without having to compromise your music. If you're having to compromise your art at any time in order to fit in, I feel like you're gonna regret that at some point. Because what you're left with is whatever you made, the art. That's what stays. And if that result has been compromised because you wanted to get maybe some airplay on radio station, you're going to be left with a song that you think could have been better,
You guys have been pretty adamant on going in your own direction, and from what we were talking about before this, it seems to be working out pretty well. I overheard you talking about going to playing a gig at Mount Tambourine.
We get lots of really good gig opportunities, and we're so grateful for that. And
Yeah.
we're so grateful that we can do what we do and be able to play gigs that we play.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I love playing gigs. I love meeting
love
new
music.
people. I love watching people dance to songs that
Yeah.
I've helped write. That's why we do it.
Do you guys have any plugs, any upcoming shows you want to promote?
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Come to a gig.
Come
to the
see
zoo
us.
Play all over Queensland and potentially in your area soon.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us today. This is ScratchThat. I'm your host, Tristan.
End of the song.